card shuffling Swifters, it's Pit Boss Prof G, and in this lesson we're going to take the data structures for creating a deck of playing cards that we created in the last lesson and begin to build a simple card playing app that shows cards in a user interface. Now there are lots of ways that you can build this further, but in this lesson it's a great way to showcase what you've learned up to this point, and it'll provide a great base to expand for your own card games. So let's deal up some big learning. If you're new here, welcome. You might want to check out the playlist to see how we got here. Now we're going to use the playground we created in our last lesson, but the odd thing about the version of Xcode that I'm using is that you cannot create a new Xcode project if a playground is up. So I'm going to close the playground first, then File, New Project. Let's call this Card Game. And now we can open up our playground from the last lesson. I'll find mine with File menu, Open Recent. And remember, the keyboard shortcut Command accent mark, the accent mark is just above the tab, will let you switch between open projects and playgrounds. Now, since you've learned how to do a lot of this, one of the best ways to prep for exams and make sure you built a solid learning foundation is to tackle these steps as challenges. Now, I'll show you the solutions afterward, and I usually try to provide a bit of extra to make a watch worthwhile, but if you choose to try this first as a bit of a challenge, well, we've already done the first step, creating an Xcode project named Card Game. Then you should add the data structures we created in our last lesson to your app so that you can create a deck of playing cards named cards, which is created when the app first loads. Now make the card structure identifiable. You can have the ID property like this, so I give you the code to use. Don't worry if you hadn't seen this before. This creates a unique ID every time the card is created. So in that struct, you want to conform to identifiable, and then add this property, let ID equals, all caps UUID, open and close parens, dot, UUID string. That's with a capital S, and you can store the data structures you need in a separate file named card data structures. So put them all inside that file. Then in your content view, you should be able to use what you've learned about ScrollViews, LazyVGrids, grid items, and ForEach to show every card like the deck that you see on the right. Now, it might help to build the UI in stages. Can you display a single card, resize it to 50 by 75? Can you build the deck once the app first loads and make sure that it never rebuilds? Hint, can you use a guard for this? And check out the hint on the top of the page if you need it. Create that scrollable list of cards. And this is what the app should look like when done, so why don't you pause, give this a shot, and when you're ready, resume, and we'll compare answers. So back in Xcode, I've got the playground up from our last lesson, and I'm going to highlight the card struct that I've created and those two enums, rank and suits, and copy them. Then I'll Command accent mark to head back to my card game. I'm going to open my navigator and I'm going to create a new file. So I'm going to right-click on the content view and select New File from Template. And these data structures from the playground don't use any user interface component. So I'm going to click on Swift File, not SwiftUI View here. Click Next. We'll name this file Card Data Structures. Create. I've got nothing in here under an import foundation, but I'll just paste in what I've copied. And these three data structures, suits, rank, and the card struct, are now available throughout my card game project. Nice. Now let's head back to our content view. And I am going to build out the user interface in steps as I suggested. So in order to be able to display a single card, I'll create it up top. It's just for UI layout purposes. I'll say var card colon capital C card, that's its type, equals, and if I type capital C card, I can see that I can put in two values here. I'll set the suit as hearts and the rank as queen. I'm going to eventually get rid of this. I could have created it as a constant. Then I'll get rid of the image in the vstack, and I'm going to change the text. So in the string, it has string interp, string interp. The first string interp will be card.suit.raw value, and the second string interp will have card.rank.type. And I see the symbol for Queen of Hearts. Let's increase the font size. I didn't specify a font size to use, but in order to make it nice and big, why don't we say .font, and we'll get a custom font size. We do that with capital F font.system. There's the option size in here. My students have seen that already. We use that in class a couple of times. Press return to accept this. Why don't we add a size of 50, nice and big. Now, in order to wrap this in a playing card, we're going to want to put this in a Z stack with a rectangle behind this text. Let's create that rectangle first. So up top, I'll say rounded rect, and we'll use a corner radius of 5. Why don't we create our foreground style as .white so that the card itself has a white background. Then we'll use .overlay, and in between the curlies, we'll also add another rounded rect with a quarter radius of 5. But to create that outline, we'll use the exact same technique that we used when we worked with our text view. We'll say .stroke passing in content and line width. The content is going to be .gray. Why don't we make the line width 2? Now we've got these two views one on top of the other. I'm going to highlight them both and then type an open curly brace. That wraps them in curlies, and out front of those curlies, I'm going to type ZStack. The card info is now inside the rect, and below the ZStack, I'm going to say .frame with a width and height, and the width will be 100 and the height will be 150, looking just like a card. Nice! So now that we've got one card, let's display a deck. And in order to do that, we've got to create a deck. So up top, I'm going to create an empty array of cards called cards. I'll say @state private var cards bracket capital C card equals empty brackets. Remember, that's how we create an empty array. Then I want to build this deck of cards once when the app first loads. I want to do that just below the VStack. I'll find the closing curly, and right below the padding, I'm going to say .onAppear. Now in between the curlies, I'm going to use some code that I've already written. So I'm going to command $mark to head back to our playground. And I'll find and highlight this code down below with a double for loop to build the card deck, and I'll also print out the deck size and each of the individual cards just to make sure that it's working. Copy this selection, head back to Content View, paste this in under onAppear, and if I open up my console, hey, look at that. I see I've got a deck of 52 cards, created in order. Nice. Now let's use this to display a deck of cards on screen. First, I'll highlight and delete these print statements. I don't need them anymore. That was just for testing. But we should make sure that we don't create a deck of cards if there's already something in the deck, and we'll do that with a guard statement. We'll simply say guard cards.isEmpty else, and in curlies return. So we'll only reach the code below this that creates the card deck if there's nothing in the deck already. Now let's show that deck of cards on screen. I'm going to head under the VStack, and I'm going to start with a ForEach statement. I'm going to select the option with data and content. Any of those should do. The data is going to be cards, tab over, press return for the trailing closure. I'm going to enter the value of each individual cards element as card. And what I want to do is to display this entire ZStack that I've highlighted down here for each individual card. So I've highlighted it, I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to paste it in between my ForEach curlies. And at this point, I no longer need that single card var that I created up top just for user interface design purposes, so I'll highlight and delete that. But we're getting a little red circle of anger. Let's click on that and see what it has to say. And oh yeah, the referencing of the ForEach requires card to conform to identifiable. I'd warned you about that, but let's fix it. I gave you instructions on how to do it. We'll bop on over to our card data structures file. We'll find our card struct. Make it conform to identifiable by saying identifiable, capital I. And if you forgot what to do here, well, the little red circle of anger will offer to help out. It says you need an ID property, and it offers to add stubs for conformance. Xcode stub me. Click apply. It gives us a variable named ID, and I gave you the code to use. We're going to set that ID equal to capital UUID open and close parens. Then after this, we're going to say .uuid string. This is, it returns a string created from UUID, and it gives you an example of this. UUID creates a value that's almost impossible to duplicate. You can consider it sort of be the unique identifier like a social security number. The .uuid string isn't absolutely necessary, but I like to keep it in there in case I ever want to print it out as a string for debugging purposes. So I'll add a comment in here that says creates a unique value each time a card is created. And in fact, we don't need to change this value, so we can change the var to let. Now friends, let's head back to Content View, and gadzooks, will you look at that? We see a whole bunch of cards created vertically in our app. Nice! Well, almost nice. Not really what we want, but we're getting closer. Let's embed our ForEach statement in a ScrollView. I'm going to highlight ForEach, type open curly. It's enclosed in curlies. Out front, I'm going to type ScrollView, and in between parens, I'm going to pass in .vertical. And look at that, friends, we've got a vertical scrolling list of cards. Now we'd like to show these in a grid from upper left to lower right, and we know how to get that to happen. We'll summon our friend, the LazyVGrid. We'll use the option with columns and content. Remember, the columns are an array of grid item, so we'll open and close brackets for that array. Inside, we'll create a grid item. We'll select the option with parens, so we're actually creating that grid item, and in between the parens, I'm going to say .adaptive. This gives us the option with minimum and maximum. I only want the minimum. I'm going to set this to 50. You can get rid of the maximum parameter, but make sure that you've got your open curly so that you're starting out your closure below. It can be tricky. That's 50, paren, close square bracket, close paren, open curly. Then I want to put my entire ForEach statement inside this LazyGrid, so I'm going to code fold ForEach, highlight it, cut it out, and paste it in between parens. We're a little cramped in here. I'd mention that each card should be width of 50 and height of 75. And ho, with a triple dot, well, we know what's going on here. Our font is a little too crowded, but we know how to fix that. Instead of fiddling with the font size, why don't we say dot minimum scale factor, passing in habit of 0.5 and a dot line limit of 1 so we don't go on multiple lines. We're still a little cramped in here. I don't like to do a minimum scale factor below 0.5, so we should probably change our font size. Why don't we drop the font size to 20, and then we can change our minimum scale factor back to 0.5, and this is looking better. So friends, we've now got a scrollable view of playing cards. In the next lesson, we're going to deal a card to the user, and we'll dry up our app by refactoring everything inside the Z stack to a separate card view. Keep coming back, there's more big learning along the way.